Welcome to CARICOMP Insider, where high-tech facial recognition meets real-world intelligence.
A 3-second audio clip. That's all it takes to clone someone's voice with enough fidelity to fool a colleague, a bank, or a family member. And in one documented case, a cloned executive voice helped steal more than $25 million in a single video call. If you've ever left a voicemail, posted a video, or joined a conference call, your voice is already out there, raw material for a technology that barely existed 2 years ago. That knot you might feel hearing that isn't paranoia. It's a reasonable response to a world where the things we've always used to trust each other, a familiar face, a recognized voice, can now be manufactured from almost nothing. This story starts with a political deepfake, a synthetic video portraying Donald Trump as Jesus Christ, but it reaches much further than one manipulated clip. According to the Daily Maverick, sociologists have identified a phenomenon they call algorithmic conspirituality. Conspiracy theories and spirituality fuse together in online spaces, then supercharged by recommendation algorithms that feed emotionally charged content to uncritical users. That's the psychological infrastructure that makes a synthetic Trump as Jesus video stick at scale. Meanwhile, deepfake-enabled fraud attempts have surged by more than 1,300% year over year, and the average loss per incident now tops $500,000. So the question running through all of this, when any voice, any face, any video can be fabricated, what's left to trust? Start with the voice cloning number, because it's the one that rewrites assumptions. According to a McAfee survey covered by Investigate TV, roughly 1 in 10 Americans has already been targeted by a voice clone scam. The tools to pull this off are free, anonymous, and require zero technical expertise. 3 to 5 seconds of audio, a TikTok clip, a voicemail greeting, a snippet from a work presentation, and the software can generate a synthetic version of your voice with up to 85% similarity. That's not a perfect copy, but it doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be good enough to catch someone off guard for 60 seconds on a phone call. And increasingly it is. Now scale that up from individual scams to corporate targets. According to Cybele Angel, deepfake CEO fraud is now the fastest-growing category of financial crime. The $25 million case wasn't a one-off anomaly. It was a signal. An employee joined what looked like a routine video call with senior executives. Every face on screen was synthetic. Every voice was cloned. The employee transferred the funds because nothing, not the faces, not the voices, not the context, triggered a red flag. $25 million, gone before anyone realized the entire meeting was fabricated. For fraud investigators, that case is a turning point. For the rest of us, it means the next video call you join could feature someone who isn't actually there. Academic researchers cited by Fortune have identified what they call the indistinguishable threshold, the point where synthetic voices become so realistic that human judgment alone can no longer separate real from fake. According to their findings, we've already crossed it. Human ears are no longer a reliable defense. That's not a prediction about the future. That's a description of right now. Vector AI tracked a 700% surge in deepfake video scams through last year alone. They described the cumulative effect as truth decay, a condition where every digital interaction becomes suspect. every video call, every voice message, every email. When nothing can be taken at face value, organizations don't just lose money. They lose the ability to operate at speed, because every communication requires a second layer of verification that most companies haven't built yet. And Gartner's forecast sharpens the timeline. By the end of this year, they predict nearly a third of enterprises will no longer consider standalone identity verification and authentication solutions reliable on their own. That means the badge scan, the password, the single-factor login, all of it designed for a threat environment that no longer exists. For compliance officers, that's a regulatory exposure problem. For everyone else, it means the systems that are supposed to confirm you are who you say you are were built to stop threats from 5 years ago. But there's a real tension underneath all of this. The EU's AI Act classifies deepfake misuse as high risk and demands transparency. The instinct is to respond with harder biometric verification, facial comparison, voice authentication, multimodal checks. And that instinct isn't wrong. But rolling out biometric systems without clear rules for consent, failure handling, and audit trails creates surveillance infrastructure that can be just as dangerous as the deepfakes it's meant to stop. Who sees the results? What happens when the system gets it wrong? What record exists to prove the process was followed? Without those answers documented up front, organizations risk regulatory blowback and lawsuits from the very people they're trying to protect. The shift that matters most isn't catching deepfakes faster. It's building verification systems so well documented that a deepfake's failure to authenticate becomes the proof itself. The organizations that survive this moment aren't the ones with the best detection software. They're the ones with defensible, auditable processes, so that when a regulator or a judge asks, "Did you have controls in place?" the answer is yes, and there's a paper trail to prove it. So a 3-second voice clip can now generate a synthetic copy of you. Deepfake fraud losses average more than $500,000 per incident, and the tools are free and anonymous. The old ways of confirming identity, a recognized face, a familiar voice, a single password, were designed for a world that doesn't exist anymore. Whether you're building cases, approving wire transfers, or just answering a phone call from someone who sounds exactly like your boss, the question is the same. What proof do you have that the person on the other end is real? The full story's in the description if you want the deep dive.
Now you know something most people in this industry don't. Use it. And when you're ready to put it to work, caracomp.com. We'll see you tomorrow.